Welcome to the Project 938 podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I'm in Makati, Manila, Philippines. I want to share some things with you as I've been here for a week and a half and a few more days to go. Part of the reason why I'm here is to be with Bethany Baptist Church here in Makati. And this church is part of the history and legacy of the Baptist Bible Fellowship, as missionaries L.D. Woosley and Joe Vela came over 70 years ago to this area of the Philippines and then even to this part of Manila. Now, there was no buildings here at that time, and so they bought some property out in some farming fields, thinking the city would grow this way. Well, sure enough, it has. And Bethany Baptist Church has been a lighthouse in this community and even all the way around the world. So I had the opportunity to be here this last Sunday with them for their 70th anniversary. It was a really neat service to be a part of. Just thinking about 70 years of a church's life and being able to share with them the joy of staying faithful and continuing on what the missionaries started. And they have the same zeal and same desire to see the gospel go not only to their own people here, but also all the way around the world. There were over 1,000 people in attendance. It was just such a really neat thing to hear them sing and to just be a part of the joy that they expressed that day. This church has done a lot in missions, but not only in world missions, they've also done a lot in reaching their own country with the gospel. In fact, this church has started many churches that have started other churches, who have started other churches. So they have like granddaughter churches and great-granddaughter churches. And the number is close to 350 churches that have been started just from this one church here. Pastor Noble has been the pastor of Bethany Baptist Church, and he's done a great job. The people love him. He's got a heart for people, and he has a heart for world missions. And that's why God has blessed this church. And so I hope you'll enjoy some of the things that you've seen from that special day on their 70th anniversary. During the same week that Bethany Baptist Church has its anniversary Sunday, then that following days they have their mission conference. This year they are having their 24th mission conference. Not only do they challenge their own people for missions, to give to missions, to pray for missionaries, and to also go to the mission field, but they invite churches and pastors from other parts of the Philippines so that they can also get a burden and a passion for missions and understand how it works, and then join in with this church in helping to support missionaries and send missionaries. So this week, over 300 pastors were invited. This church takes care of them, feeds them, and does everything they can so they can be a blessing and impact those churches and those pastors for world missions. They do something really unique here, and they do Faith Promise missions giving, but they challenge their church, their members, to go above and beyond. And so what I mean by that is they challenge their church members, and many of them have taken up this challenge, but they challenge them to give 2 times to missions what they give in their tithe. So they say, yes, 10% of your income goes to the tithe, and then you give 20% additionally from your income to missions. And that's why this church, every year, they've been able to give over $315,000 US to missions. That is exciting, and it's amazing to hear some of their testimonies and stories of how they just trust God to provide. They do creative things to generate other income. They put it in their budget and trust God to take care of their needs. And it's just amazing to see. But because their pastor has been so passionate about missions, they have joined in with him, and they really do some great things for world missions. In fact, this church this year has sent out their 72nd missionary. Not church planters here in the Philippines. This is missionaries that are church planting missionaries going outside the Philippines, around the world. Wow, what an amazing, amazing thing. So I've enjoyed being a part of this. It's blessed my heart, and it's just been exciting to challenge them to do even more. And I know they're already going to see at the end of this conference people who have been surrendered and say, I'm ready to go. Send me. I'll go to wherever God's called. You know what? They're going to even creative access nation countries. And so we need to be praying and joining in with this church to do what we can in world missions as well. Another really neat opportunity I had was to meet up with Lance and Melanie Gocher, our missionaries here in the Philippines. Lance called me up and said, hey, let's get together on Saturday. We've got a new church plant that I'd like to show you. I said, man, that would be fantastic. And so he picked me up, took me a couple-hour drive across the city, and there was a church service getting ready to begin. This church is only 6 weeks old, now running somewhere around 100 in attendance. I had the privilege to share about my ministry and my position as a mission director, and then also give a clear, short presentation of the gospel of Jesus Christ. It really blessed my heart to be able to do that with those people. And then to walk around and watch the children as they had their Sunday school lessons, and watching people from Lance's main church there teaching Sunday school and being active in this new church plant with its own pastor already. God's blessing there. People are getting saved in that community. What a neat opportunity it was. I thank God for that privilege and what's really going on all across this city of Manila. It was 30 years ago that several of our missionaries and national pastors here in the Philippines got together and decided they needed to start a local missionary clearinghouse. So 30 years ago, Lloyd Baker and Dr. Gisalva and several others came together and started the Asian Baptist Clearinghouse. Lloyd Baker said it would just be a blessing if we would ever see 25 missionaries sent from the Philippines. Well, in 2024, they just approved 20 more families and singles. Some of them come from very good backgrounds. One lady was telling me she was a microchip engineer and had decided God wanted her to be a missionary, and so she was going to go to the mission field and work with missionaries already there. There's also a couple that are in their 70s that have surrendered to go, and they want to go help a missionary in Kazakhstan. Wow, that is just amazing. And so I had the opportunity during our training time with them this year to hear their testimonies and where they've come from and how God has worked in their life to be able to send them as missionaries. I had the opportunity for a week to be a part of their missionary training seminar. I taught a number of sessions, from deputation to training nationals, leaders, to preparing your family to go to the mission field, moral purity, spiritual purity on the field for the men, and just a number of other topics, adapting culturally, personally, things like that. And so I taught about 11 hours of sessions during that time, and it was a blessing to be a part of this group of missionaries who have shared that God's called them to go to multiple places around the world. Right now, with the Asian Baptist Clearinghouse, they have 280 families and singles serving in 60 different countries. When Brother Lloyd Baker was wanting and hoping for just 25, there are over 280, 10 times more. Brother Baker has now gone home to heaven, but the work that he started continues on. This country of the Philippines is no longer a receiving country for the gospel. They are now a sending country for the gospel of Jesus Christ. And Paul Byers, our BBFI missionary, has been the one who is leading and working with Asian Baptist Clearinghouse and making sure that they do all the things that they can do to process for these missionaries and help them get into all the various countries they're going to, and making sure they stand by them as they're there. At the same time, he goes around and preaches in churches in the Philippines and encourages them with missions and challenges them to support the missionaries. Right now, there's about 1,700 churches in the Philippines who are supporting their missionaries as they go out to 60 different countries. It's just so exciting to see how missions is working. When we sent missionaries years ago, they came to evangelize, disciple, and start churches. And then they trained them to do the same. That's what's happening here in the Philippines. They're now sending their missionaries, and their missionaries are doing the same in other countries, and now those other countries are beginning to send their missionaries, their people, to other places around the world. God is so good. God is working. It's a joy to be a part of world missions. And so I'm glad you joined me today for this podcast. I hope it's been a blessing to you. Maybe it's been a challenge to you. Maybe you'd say, you know what? I need to join in on God's mission. God's been working in my heart, and I need to join and go where God's calling me, join in His mission, and take the gospel to people who are waiting to hear of the precious truth of God. Maybe you're one who needs to say, I need to give. I need to start giving so these missionaries can take the gospel, or I need to increase my giving so more can be done. Perhaps you would say, I need to be praying for our missionaries or for more missionaries. Oh my, we need more missionaries. With the population of the world gone over 8 billion people, and you see cities like this behind me in the Philippines, and there's cities like this all around the world, there are places that are just waiting for someone to come and share the gospel of Jesus Christ. Oh, they may not know it's Jesus that they're looking for, but they are searching. They're trying to find the truth, something to fill that void that's in their life. They know there's got to be something, someone, somewhere. We have the answer. That answer is Jesus Christ. I hope that you've been blessed by this Project 938 podcast. Join us again for our next one. And you can always go back to our YouTube channel, BBFI Missions, and watch previous ones as well. May God bless you, and let's pray for God to do great things for world missions.